Human gives water to injured alien. Next day, the entire tribe arrives riding tigers with a bride. Elias Ford had never expected peace to be so quiet. After years of planetary survey work for the United Terran Coalition, he had finally been given solo duty, monitoring freshwater preservation on the remote moon Vala 9, a place covered in endless jade forests and silent crystal rivers. It was peaceful. Too peaceful, maybe. The kind of place where even your own voice sounded like an intruder. He spent his days checking river filtration drones and logging mineral data. His only company was a rusted-out rover, 2 chickens he'd smuggled aboard for entertainment, and a comm relay that only occasionally worked. But that peace shattered one early morning. He was kneeling by the river, checking scanner readings, when something splashed across from him. Elias jolted, his hand flying to the pulse pistol at his hip. Something, or someone, had collapsed in the water. The figure was tall, covered in pale sapphire skin streaked with darker markings like lightning strikes. Long hair the color of molten silver floated in the current. A spear made of bone and steel was clutched too weakly to matter. Blood seeped from a jagged wound across the alien's ribs. They weren't dead, but close. Elias hesitated only a second before vaulting into the water. The alien stirred, eyes fluttering open, bright gold with black irises like slitted suns. They snarled, weakly swinging the spear. Elias raised both hands. Hey, easy. I'm not here to hurt you. The alien's breathing hitched. They tried to speak, but only coughed. They were dying of blood loss. Elias made a choice. He holstered his weapon, knelt beside them, and lifted their head gently. Can you drink? He asked, grabbing his canteen. The alien blinked slowly, not understanding his words, but understanding the gesture. He pressed the metal flask to their lips. They drank greedily, water spilling down their chin. When they finished, the alien stared at him. Not with gratitude, not with friendliness, with confusion, like nobody had ever shown them such gentleness. Then they passed out. Elias looked at the deep wound. It was grave, but treatable. He didn't know alien physiology, but he knew bleeding. He pulled open his medkit and sealed what he could with coagulant foam. He considered moving them to his base, then reconsidered. If this alien belonged to a tribe and woke up in a human bunker, they'd assume the worst. So he built a shelter of branches and leaves nearby, stayed by their side through the night, and kept pouring small amounts of water into their mouth when they stirred. By dawn, the alien was breathing steadily. Elias wiped sweat from his brow. You're gonna live, stranger. Don't die just to prove me wrong. The alien didn't answer, but their fingers twitched as if gripping his hand. The next day, Elias returned at sunrise with more supplies, protein packs, water, and gauze. But when he approached the riverbed clearing, his heart stopped. The alien was gone. The entire shelter had been dismantled. Blood traces were faint, but led into the treeline. He sighed. Well, you're welcome, I guess. He turned and froze, because standing across the river was an army. Dozens of the same tall sapphire-skinned aliens stood on the opposite bank, all armed with spears, axes, and gleaming armor made from tanned beast hide and bone. Their long hair was decorated with fangs and feathers. Their fierce golden eyes watched him in silence. But that wasn't the strangest part. They were all riding tigers. Or something very close. Colossal feline beasts striped in iridescent green and violet. Their fangs were long as knives, and their tails swished like whips. Elias swallowed. Slowly, 3 of the riders stepped forward. One of them, the one in the center, dismounted. He was huge, broader than the rest, scarred with warrior markings. He stepped into the water and crossed halfway. Elias raised his hands. I don't want trouble. The warrior didn't answer. He simply stared. Then he pounded a fist to his chest in salute. Elias blinked. The warrior gestured to the trees behind him. A group stepped forward. In their center stood her, the injured alien from yesterday. She was now clothed in ceremonial garb, silver wrappings, and feathered mantle. She looked far stronger today, her wound covered in pale green balm. Her golden eyes found his instantly. She stared at him, then knelt. Every warrior behind her followed suit, thumping their fists to their chests in salute. Elias panicked. Whoa, no, get up. I didn't do anything. The lead warrior barked something sharp in their alien tongue. Two riders dismounted. They carried between them a young woman, draped in white animal fur, her skin painted with spirals, her hair braided with tiny bells. She looked nervous, curious, hopeful. She was escorted forward and pushed toward Elias. Elias stepped back. Wait, what's happening? The healed alien woman, the one he'd saved, finally spoke. Her voice was melodic, though strained. You, water giver, lifesaver. She thumped her chest and bowed her head. Zaina owes life to you. Elias blinked. So that was her name. Zaina turned, gesturing toward the girl before him, then back to him. Then she mimed, placing the girl's hand in his. Elias stared. Realization dawned. Oh no. He pinched his nose. You think I saved your life, so now you're giving me to wife. Zaina tilted her head, then nodded.
Proudly.
The tribe behind her cheered. Elias nearly fainted. Cultural misunderstandings and complications. He raised both hands. Okay, whoa. Thank you, but I can't just accept a person like a trophy. The warriors frowned, confused. Zaina approached him directly. She placed her hand over his heart, then over her own. She spoke slowly, searching for words in broken human dialect. Water is sacred, only given to mate,
To kin.
to forever. Elias realized their culture must treat water as life bonding, an offering of deep significance. He wasn't just giving her water. He had proposed without knowing. Oh no, he whispered. Accidentally got engaged. Zaina placed her hand behind his neck and pressed her forehead to his. The tribe roared in celebration, and Elias panicked even harder. The middle, learning their ways. Despite protests, Elias was escorted, more like kidnapped gently, back to their village. But it wasn't primitive as he expected. It was beautiful. Homes were carved into massive living trees, suspended with webbed bridges. Lanterns hung from vines, glowing bioluminescent blues. The air smelled of fruit and spice. They treated him as honored guest. They fed him sizzling meat, spiced fruit drinks, even gave him his own tiger-like mount. Zaina stayed, close always, watching, curious, almost fond. The bride they gifted him, named Leora, was kind, gentle. She touched his hand often, smiling shyly. Elias tried to explain to them, slowly, using gestures and drawing in the dirt. Humans do not marry for gifts. I am honored, but I do not take wives this way. They didn't understand at first, but Zaina did. She pulled Leora back, then faced Elias alone. You choose? Yes, he said emphatically. I must choose. She nodded slowly, then pointed to herself. You choose? Elias stared. She watched him like a predator, but her eyes softened. She was fierce, loyal,
Brave.
She risked death without regret. She thanked life with honor. She brought a tribe riding tigers to repay a kindness